Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to In the Process podcast. This is yours truly, Kwamboka Mboya, and today we are talking about a very interesting topic, and it's giving grace. When I think about giving grace, one of the things that comes to my mind is the grace that God speaks of, that the grace is sufficient for us all in all times. When you talk about the grace that God gives us, it gives us a depiction of the kind of grace that we need to extend to ourselves and also the kind of grace that we need to extend to the next person. And so this is what informs today's podcast, and this is what informs today's episode. Giving grace to yourself and also the next person. I'll start this by asking, how many times have you called someone and the person has not picked, and what pops into your mind is they ignored me? How many times have you told yourself, I'll never call this person because they never call back? One of the things that giving grace in this process of me learning how to give grace and extending grace to people is that now I don't judge harshly. I don't judge immediately. Part of giving grace, I would say part of giving grace is now all those things that you feel like this person should not be doing this, is getting the background of why this person is doing this. A time back, there's a time I was in a season of depression. And one of the things was I didn't want to talk to people. People would call me and I would look at their call and I'm like, I just don't feel like talking to anyone. I just don't feel like it. And also returning their calls was not part of my agendas, that I'll return the call, let it ring. I would not. Because I was in a space where I didn't have the capacity to call back. I didn't have the capacity to even hold a conversation with anyone else. I was in my own journey of trying to heal myself. I was in my own journey of just trying to understand and cruise through a period that I really didn't understand. So I found myself in that journey. So after I was in that journey of just getting healed and getting out of the funk of depression, now I started understanding that sometimes you might call someone and realize that this person did not pick my call. This is just a simple example that I'm using. There are many areas that you find yourself not giving the next person grace just because you have already a predetermined judgment of what could be happening behind the scenes or why they did what they did. And that is now, the simple example I'm using is now a call. Just a simple call. You call someone, the person did not call. Or you've been calling and reaching out to someone and this person never reaches out to you. And one of the things that happens is you will start saying, hey, maybe some people, I call them so much and they never call me. So it's about time I just cut them off or something. And so for me, after I went through that period, I realized that there's a season I was judging people. There's a season that I was like, why does this person not pick my calls? Why does this person never return my calls or never calls me? Because I always reach out, they never reach out back to me. What if they're in a season that they themselves don't even understand that season? They're trying to navigate through that season. By the grace of God, they're just keeping themselves alive. But you, on the other side, you already have a predetermined judgment of what they are doing or why they are doing what they are doing. So for me now in that season, I realized now I need to start giving people that grace. Sometimes giving grace does not come from a point of they deserve it. Sometimes it comes from a point of they need it in this season. It's not that they deserve it, they need it. Even if you feel like they don't deserve it, at some seasons, people need you to extend grace to them. And so when you talk about extending grace to yourself and extending grace to the next person, let me start by talking about extending grace to myself, which also I will widen it to extending grace to the next person. Extending grace to yourself looks like you forgiving yourself for mistakes you've done. you being in a place where you do not beat yourself so much over the mistakes that you've done, because you have now started acknowledging that I am not perfect. I can make also mistake. You accepting that imperfect me, human me, because even the Bible tells us, the Bible uses the reference of sin. If you say you're not of sin, you're lying. We are all sinners, but we are saved in that season. So one of the things that you extending grace to yourself looks like is you knowing that I'm imperfect. I will make mistakes. But one of the things that I will not do is beat myself for those mistakes, is dust myself and see how I can be able to learn and ensure that I am making a better version of myself from those mistakes. That is one of the things. Next thing that you can do also to extend grace to yourself is not comparing yourself to the next person. Comparison always kills the joy of the season. Why? You're in a season where you are comparing yourself to the next person who is in a different season. We are all in our unique journeys, because once you start identifying how to give grace, or you start now extending grace, you will come to realize that as humans, we are all in our own unique journeys. And us being in our own journeys gives us informs us that we are different. We are different, we are in different seasons. So you comparing yourself to the next person who is in a different season than you are in, then kills the joy of the season that you are in. I love talking about seasons because I believe that being in whatever time you are in a season in your life. Be it an easy season, be it a season where you're going through a lot, it's still a season. And that always passes. So when you are in a different season than the next person and you find yourself comparing yourself with the next person, you become frustrated that maybe you've not achieved. Most of the time, what usually happens in the normal life is you comparing to maybe you are in the same class and the other person has moved faster. You are maybe still in the entry-level positions, then that person has already gone to management positions, and you're there comparing yourselves. But then one of the things you need to understand, yes, you went to the same class, but you are all in unique journeys. You are all in unique paths. So you being in a place where you're identifying that we are all in unique journeys, we are all in unique paths, and we do not need to be at the same level at every season in our lives, gives you a better, it helps you now to start giving grace to yourself that I am where I am today. So let me enjoy this season where I am. So also now when you're extending grace to yourself, don't compare yourself with the next person. Enjoy the season that you're in for you to be able to get the grasp of that season. One of the things that I feel sad about is maybe going through a season and I didn't learn anything in that season. Going through a season and I didn't enjoy that season because I was so much looking at what else can be than learning and just getting to embrace what it is now and getting the better part of the now and finding joy and peace in the now than looking at the next. So in your journey of just giving yourself grace, do not compare yourself with the next person, because it will kill the joys of your season. That's all I can say in that. So talking about extending now grace to the next person. Most of the time, this is where we fail. A lot of times we fail. We want to extend grace to the person who deserves it. That they called me and told me they will not be available, so that's why they are not available. So that one deserves my grace. But this one who didn't tell me they'll not be available and they didn't communicate anything, and yet they are not available, then these ones, they don't deserve my grace. The grace that we are given by God, or what the word tells us about grace, is it is sufficient in all seasons. It does not talk about grace is sufficient in this particular season or in this particular circumstance, but on this other circumstance, no, there shouldn't be any grace. So extending grace is you allowing people to exist as they are. That is, with all their flaws, allowing yourself to just be able to embrace people. Now, that is where now you start now extending grace to the next person. Extending grace to the next person also requires you to forgive. And this is one of the areas that most of us struggle, including me. Sometimes it's very difficult to forgive someone who has done something that has hurt you. They don't deserve you to forgive them, but at some point they need you to forgive them. And so that is when now you need to extend the grace of forgiveness. Also, being gracious to the next person is also understanding that this person might be on a different journey. The way when I started with the example of me being in a space where I was depressed and I was in a season where I didn't just want to talk to people. There are people who never understood that season. There are people who I lost in that season. There are friends that cut me off in that season, and that's okay. But now, me being in the same shoes, now I was able to understand the next person. I was able to understand that people go through a lot. Life sometimes can get messy. Life sometimes can get difficult to the best of us. And so for us to be able to coexist in the same space and coexist peacefully and coexist from a healthy perspective is you acknowledging that people need to, you need to extend grace to people. And now, whether they deserve it or they don't, you need to extend the grace to them. How many times have you been compassionate to someone you feel like this person does not deserve? They put themselves in those situations. They put themselves in that situation, so why should I be compassionate about it? But you should, because they need you to be compassionate to them. They need you sometimes. There are people sometimes who need you to reach out because the season they are in, they are unable to reach out. And that is you extending grace. That is you extending compassion and kindness to the next person. So in extending grace also, especially to extending grace to others, is not judging them in the seasons that they are in. Because also, again, when you find yourself judging so much, you fail to extend grace. Actually, judging someone is you failing to extend grace to them in the seasons that they are in. So part of you extending, being gracious to someone is just getting to understand where this person is coming from and trying to see, how can I help? Sometimes just being gracious to someone is extending a hand of help to the next person. Sometimes just someone needs to know that you are there for them. That is extending grace to the next person. Extending grace also looks like you speaking life to someone or even to yourself. There's times you're in circumstances that you feel like you're downcast. There are times that you feel like you are not able to move. Extending grace to yourself looks like you speaking life to yourself in that situation, in that circumstance. So today, the only thing I just wanted to encourage you is extend grace. Learn to extend grace to yourself and the next person, because it's very important. It allows you to be kind to yourself. It allows you to accept yourself the way you are. One of the things that I would, when I think about extending grace, especially to myself, is telling myself it's okay in every situation that I have found myself in. Sometimes it's okay not to be okay. That is you extending grace to yourself that, yes, I am not okay, but I should not be okay every time. So it's okay me not being okay. It's okay me gaining weight. It's okay me losing weight. Because I think, most of my episode, you'll realize one of my insecurities had been weight loss and weight gain. And so in this season that I am in, me giving myself grace is allowing myself to exist as myself, learning to just give grace to myself in the different seasons that I am going through. In the process of life, I'll not be the 19-year-old I used to be. I will not have the same physique of my 19-year-old in my 30s. So I would extend grace to myself to learn that it's okay, kwamboka, to add weight. It's okay to lose weight. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to forgive others. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay for the next person to be the way they are, because those are, like, that is them. Accepting where you are at, accepting the space you're in, the season you're in, allowing others to exist in the seasons that they are in. That trickles down to you being gracious to yourself and the next person. That is it from me for today. Until next time, see you right here. Thank you.